Why is it that a select few people get whatever they want in reality, while the vast majority of others struggle just to get by? You might think that it's because some people are just born lucky, that maybe it's because they're tall, or good-looking, or smooth talkers, or they come from a rich family, that's why they get special access to opportunities. And sure, some of those things are definitely advantageous, I'm not discounting that. But it's a cop-out that most people use as an excuse for why they don't win in reality. Because the truth is, the people that have that magic touch aren't any different than you, except they've uncovered the one hidden secret that precedes all achievement and success. They have what I call godlike confidence. Confidence is the single most critical component in manifesting your desired reality. But the problem is, you don't have any. Or more accurately, it was taken from you. That's why reality feels like it's rigged against you, and then you shake your fist at God and say things like, "Why is this happening to me?" You've been misled throughout your entire life about what confidence actually is, turning it into this mythical creature you chase but never find. But I promise you, by the end of this video, you'll feel this subtle sense of familiarity of a truth you've always known deep in your soul. It just got buried under layers of distorted programming that cause you to question your own value. And when it clicks, reality will never look the same again. Now, stop and ask yourself, what do you think confidence is? Because the vast majority of people have been trained to think that confidence is about how loud you are, or how much space you take up, or how hard you work towards your goals. And you're taught these hustle guru mantras like confidence is built through competence, meaning that until the world validates you, you have no permission to trust yourself. Or you're told that confidence is about believing in yourself. But here's the problem. Anytime there is belief, there is always room for doubt. And that's why these old models are backwards. The counterintuitive truth here is that confidence doesn't come from proof or blind faith, it comes from trust. The etymology of the word confidence is derived from the Latin root word confidere, which means to have full trust. To have complete, unwavering self-trust is the true essence of what confidence is. That's the real definition. It's not about what you do or how much approval you get from the world. It's the internal knowing that encompasses clear alignment with the universal principles that govern this reality. Genuinely confident beings know they are powerful. They don't believe good things will happen to them because belief is not good enough. They know. This is what godlike confidence is. It's the frequency that precedes all achievement, alignment, and success. It's your most natural and normal state of being when you are connected to God because you recognize that you are not separate from God, you are God experiencing itself. So every time you tell yourself things like, "I lack confidence," or "I'm building up confidence so that I can become worthy," what you're actually telling yourself is that you don't trust yourself right now. You don't trust God right now. And this disconnect interrupts the frequency of alignment that manifests your highest reality because your definitions and state of being are in conflict. But the thing is, it's very easy to find evidence that disproves these false paradigms. Like, think about that. How many times have you met people that defy all logic? You've met people that are less intelligent than you, that didn't work as hard as you, that are less talented than you, and yet they're somehow more successful. You know at least a handful of people like that, where it's like they're not even trying, they've never picked up a book in their life, and yet everything seems to go their way. But here you are reading 100 different books on self-help and manifestation, and at the end of the day, you're just like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? Why does that happen? Because energy is everything. Who you are is infinitely more important than what you are doing. You can apply all the tricks and strategies that other people say is going to manifest your reality or is going to make you successful, but if you're still carrying imposter syndrome or waiting for someone else's permission or anything else that is reflective of a lack of self-trust, it's like trying to cut down a tree with a blunt axe. You're going to work 100x harder and not get anywhere. Now, here's the secret part that no one else is going to tell you. You already know how to be confident. It's innate. It's in the factory settings of your subconscious mind. It's what the master teachers of alchemy and creation have been pointing to for millennia. Confidence isn't something you build, it's something you access. And in order to tap into this frequency, you have to understand where the programming came from that robbed you of it in the first place. I talk about this a lot more in depth from the entrepreneurial perspective in my other video, Breaking the Matrix of Mediocrity. If you're an entrepreneur, go watch that video after this. But right now, let's stop for a second and take a trip back in time to a moment where you were your most confident. You were born with confidence. As a child, you carried the frequency of God inherently. That's why in the Bible it says, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Just look at how children move through life. They're wildly curious and playful. They ask a million questions. They're present to their emotions and act them out instantly. They have no concept of limitation, no concept of guilt. The world is just alive and spontaneous for them. And believe it or not, you were once a child. I know, it's pretty crazy to think that, right? But what happened to that light? What happened to the curiosity and confidence that used to radiate from you? You grew up and reality set in. Your parents, your teachers, and the world showed you that life is dangerous. You saw firsthand how painful it is to have a sensitive soul in a harsh environment. You spent around 22 years in a schooling system preparing you to be a responsible adult. And somewhere along the way, you confused responsibility with being dead serious about everything. You became calculated and over-analytical. You judge yourself endlessly, trying to avoid making mistakes and looking foolish. You inherited a life compass from others that told you being different was somehow bad, that dreams only happen to the lucky ones, and that freedom and abundance can't possibly be sustainable because life requires sacrifice. That deep disconnection from the universal principles of reality hardened into fear. You learn to value predictability over the unknown. You unconsciously seek validation instead of truth. You were programmed to be realistic, and so your inner child went silent. And without even realizing it, you locked your confidence behind an invisible door. A door you were told would only open if you satisfied a set of societal conditions. But remember what we said earlier, confidence is not conditional, confidence is self-trust. There is no door unless you believe there is. Now, I know that's very deep, and you might have to replay this a couple times over until it sinks in. But here's why I'm telling you all of this. Until you see beyond the veil of this societal matrix, you will keep outsourcing your power to a system that was never designed for your multidimensional soul. The matrix is like a hive mind. Anything that doesn't fit in its rules is seen as a threat. That's why there's so much pressure to conform and lower your confidence, because your very existence as a godlike being exposes the matrix as a lie. Your role as a conscious creator is to reconnect to your confidence, which energetically means connecting with God, even when the societal pendulums reject you. And paradoxically, when you embody this fully, the same matrix that resisted you will eventually celebrate you, because what it cannot suppress, it elevates. But make no mistake, the path is clear. You either play by the rules, taking the long way around and risk never arriving, or you go straight to the source, see reality for yourself, and receive all of the experiences your heart desires. This realization triggers a chain reaction. Your mind begins to question your entire programming, causing a ripple effect in how you mentally and energetically perceive this reality. You enter the void, which is the uncomfortable space of not knowing. And most people can't handle it because the programming runs too deep. As soon as things become a little bit unpredictable, they crumble back into their old patterns. But here's the counterintuitive truth that allows for your mind to effortlessly digest this entire transmutation of your state of being. Unlocking godlike confidence is not about getting somewhere or building up to something. It's about remembering. It's about returning to your natural childlike state of alignment with the all. This is why in the spiritual space you'll hear people talk a lot about remembering who you are. What you're doing is remembering your confidence and allowing yourself to play in the infinite possibilities that this dimension has to offer, in a similar way that you did when you were a child. Because in the end, you realize this entire game is made up. People are just creating meanings as they stumble through life, imposing limitations on each other in the name of being realistic. But all of it is self-imposed. Remember this, man is realistic, God is delusional. And underneath almost every fear and limitation, there's only one core belief holding it all together. A belief so sticky and toxic that most people carry it around their entire lives and pass it on to their lineage as if it's gospel. The one belief that sabotages your godlike confidence is the belief that you are not worthy. The belief that you are unworthy underlies almost every fear and negative pattern you experience. Fear of being seen, fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of failure, imposter syndrome, insecurity, etc. At their core, they're just different versions of unworthiness. This belief carries with it a feeling of heaviness. It's like no matter what you do or say, you're never good enough. It feels like you're always off balance, getting blindsided by misfortune. You're always exhausted because you don't have a chance to catch your breath. And then you look at others that seem to be doing better and you compare. You make all kinds of assumptions about how you're doing everything wrong and they're doing everything right. Comparison is one of the lowest vibrational frequencies you can be in, and it's always evidence of unworthiness. And this section is really interesting to talk about because I often find that the people that are most into spirituality carry the deepest wounds of unworthiness. It's like they've started a deeper search within themselves and know that there is more, and yet they can never actualize it in reality through abundance in their finances, their relationships, their health and fitness, and their confidence, and pretty much every aspect of life. Why does this happen? Because somewhere deep down, they still don't fully trust themselves. So they get stuck in this middle limbo phase where they haven't quite reached a level where their manifestations are real in the third dimension, but they also can't go backwards to the old paradigms either because that would mean the death of their sovereignty. And so they're just like stuck in the middle. I call this whole experience the maze of manifestation. It feels confusing and unsettling, like you're not even sure who you are or what you're doing anymore. And you're just over it, like you just want to have the breakthrough already. If you're there right now, I have good news and bad news. The bad news is you put yourself there. But the good news is you also have the power to get out. And this is all serving you, for you would not truly know God if you never met the devil. And there's one energetic shift that will collapse the walls of the maze and plug you back into God. And that is the frequency of reduced importance. If you've listened to everything thus far and it resonates for you, I can tell you without a doubt in my mind that you are attributing way too much importance to yourself and your life circumstance. You are making everything a big deal, which is why it all feels so heavy. You must understand that reality has an energetic equilibrium. Anytime you assign tremendous significance to anything, Balancing forces come in and neutralize the energy by giving you resistance. Think about that. You've experienced some version of that before. You desperately wanted the dream job and you treat it like life or death. How did you show up in the interview? You probably showed up stiff and nervous, and you energetically sabotage yourself from getting the job. Or even something as sacred and personal as talking with God. Most people think that connection to God is reserved only for pastors and monks. But God is not locked in a book or a church or relegated to one specific day per week. God is everywhere, everything, at all times. And you have access to God right now in the same way Jesus did. But they don't want you knowing this. The only thing blocking it is inflated importance. The secret to dissolving unworthiness is to stop taking life so seriously. So relax, loosen your grip on reality, and give your soul some space to breathe. Cease this endless battle for control over your life and bring importance back into balance by learning how to laugh at yourself. Stop trying so hard to force reality into submission and trust that once you decided on a certain outcome, it is already done. Your dream job is not a big deal. Connection to God is not a big deal. Finding love is not a big deal. Getting rejected is not a big deal. Looking foolish is not a big deal. Failing is not a big deal. Winning is not a big deal. Making lots of money is not a big deal. Nothing is a big deal. Man is most comical when he takes himself too seriously. It's only in moments that you assign excessive importance that you find reality starts to twist and turn, and then the path becomes unclear. But when you adopt a carefree attitude, the walls of the maze dissolve. The fog lifts. You walk right through the invisible door into your confidence, and reality begins responding accordingly. Unworthiness becomes an old friend that you no longer resonate with because you remembered that this is all just a video game. And you begin to approach life with a childlike curiosity and the confidence that the universe is working with you, not against you. Self-trust and connection to God become your dominant source of guidance, and you'll find that you were worthy all along. You just got tricked into believing you weren't. And from this place, there is one final piece to the puzzle that further cements your godlike confidence and transforms your reality in real time so that you become one of the lucky few that has everything go your way. As you know, I am a man of pragmatism, and I always ground these deep spiritual and energetic conversations into something that you can actually do right now. And this final piece, the piece that ties it all together, is about self-mastery. As I often say, when you master yourself, you master your reality. There is no better way to embody godlike confidence than through self-mastery, because self-mastery is the union between the spiritual, the mental, and the physical planes. We've already gone deep into the spiritual and the mental. You now see how societal programming conditions you to forget your divine nature, and how dissolving unworthiness reconnects you to godlike trust. You can feel the energy of self-trust rising in your mind, body, and soul. You're calm and relaxed, and know intuitively that the universe is on your side. But now what? What do you do with that? How do you ground this frequency into the physical dimension? The answer is simple. It's an equation. Self-mastery plus mastery of a skill set equals mastery over your reality. The mastery of a skill set is critical because all of this inner work and remembrance means nothing if you never express it in the physical form. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to pause and think about what the end goal is. Take a moment and ponder what your most abundant life looks like. If everything in your life was going exactly the way you wanted it to, what would you be doing? What would freedom look like for you? You should actually pause the video and think about this. Once you have a clear picture, reverse engineer that image and ask yourself, what specific skill sets or craft would I need to master in order for that reality to become true? This skill set can be anything you desire. If you're an artist, then painting or sketching would make perfect sense. If your vision is something athletic, then whatever sport you play is the necessary skill set. If your desire is to be a top entrepreneur, then whatever craft is fundamental to your business idea is the answer. For me, on my path, it was my communication skill set. I made the conscious decision that I will be one of the best communicators in the world, and I went to work diligently to master my ability to write and speak and think, to connect and network with other conscious creators and conscious beings, to take my deepest thoughts and articulate them in a way that actually creates transformation in others. And I invested tens of thousands of hours into refining my craft. And that allowed me to bring my vision into reality. If you're a conscious creator, I have modules on communication mastery in my digital program called the 4-Hour Conscious Creator. I'll leave a link in the description. And your commitment as a godlike being is to hone that craft every day. In that way, the hustle gurus were half right about confidence being competence, but they have it in the wrong order. Confidence first, competence after. Because when you have godlike confidence and you pair that with a world-class skill set, reality bends in your favor. Because at all times, you know who you are being and you do it well. And then life turns into a video game where each action you take gains experience points like EXP points that level you up. We're not here begging the universe to give us things we don't deserve. We are unlocking our true power and aligning to the degree that we no longer need our manifestations to feel powerful. And then moving as if we were already the best in the world in our category. That is godlike confidence. Adopting that frame might look delusional to most, but that's the point. Most people don't understand the power that self-trust has. They will doubt you and call you crazy, but soon enough, when the universe starts reflecting what you've known all along, then they will call you lucky. I promise you that if you take everything that I'm saying to heart and apply it effectively on a long enough time horizon, you will also become one of the chosen ones and be the authority over your own life and your freedom.